2 years ago, I went to Perth, Australia. It's literally 7 minutes away from the Indian Ocean while walking. Not only did Perth have sunshine, emus, great gelato, and the metric system, but it has very different standards for day-to-day life. For example, they have an assortment of at least 3 different recycling bins next to every garbage can. Every one of them. And they didn't believe in washing machines and only used clotheslines to dry clothes. It was common practice to keep your shower under 3 minutes to conserve water, which is definitely a good thing, but that's a different oratory. No, I'm here to shed some light on what is a much more subtle but just as imposing problem. By shortening their shower time, Australia's population was actually doing themselves a healthy favor. Time magazine, December 3rd, 2010, explains that, as Americans, our obsession with cleanliness has rendered our immune systems hypersensitive to all foreign assaults, whether harmful or beneficial. Clearly, we have a cleanliness problem, and it's probably not the one most of you are thinking of. The National Heart, Lung, and Blood Institute argues that if the FDA didn't approve half the cleaning supplies it does today, 19.8 million people in my generation wouldn't have asthma. In an effort to become as clean as we can be, we are actually deteriorating our health at a faster rate than we can mend it. As a society, we need to put less emphasis on being so sanitary and realize the dirty truth. Filth is okay. So first, we'll wash away the problem of people confusing clean with crazy. Second, dig up some dirt on how our society portrays clean as the one and only way to live. And finally, concoct a couple of formulas on how we can all become more healthy. So, one morning when I was waking up for one of my ungodly short showers, my cousin Joey asked me why I shower every morning. Ends up in Australia, instead of showering every morning, they shower once or twice a week before bed and then wash their bedspreads 3 times a week, thus conserving water and limiting exposure to overcleanliness. Now, unlike Australia, our cleanliness is dominated by 2 major problems: a general ignorance of what's in the products we're distributing, and an overclean mindset. First, being clean has become second nature to us. Without thinking, we start cleaning before questioning if it's even necessary. Charles Welcher, an expert in environmental and occupational research at Robert Wood Johnson Medical School, notes that we know why we use these chemicals. What we don't know is the long-term health consequences. As a society today, we have made it socially acceptable to use these substances in our daily lives without questioning what's in them. In her 2009 book, Supernatural Home, author Beth Greer explains that the average household contains 62 toxic chemicals, household products that are used to keep our surroundings clean, which can be linked to headaches, asthma, and even cancer. If I were to ask you to list off all the chemicals you applied to yourself this morning, how honestly could you answer me? As a society, we need to educate ourselves on what is clean and what is excessive. Second, being too clean has negative impacts on our health. If we were a cannibalistic society and I ate you, I would die. In an effort to stay a sterile society, we inject ourselves with toxic chemicals that no one should have on them organically. Yes, our lemon-scented Purell hand sanitizer rivals mac and cheese for the best thing to bless the face of this earth, but overuse can be unhealthy. Kathleen Halligan, assistant professor of chemistry at York College, argues that overappliance of hand sanitizer could cause gastrointestinal problems, induce seizures, and have an impact on reproduction. Further, Dr. J.D. Schulman, medical researcher at the Idaho Institute of Health, explains that an everyday tube of toothpaste contains roughly 143 milligrams of fluoride, which is more than double the dose necessary to kill a child. Manufacturers argue that in small amounts these toxic ingredients aren't likely to be a problem, but when we're exposed to them routinely and in combinations that haven't been studied, it's impossible to accurately gauge the risks. In our efforts to avoid sickness, we've come face to face to it with no way out. Now, in Australia, they did wash their hands, but hand soap was actually a luxury. Now, I'm not saying that they couldn't afford it, but in their minds, hand soap wasn't a necessity. And they're right. It's not. In fact, Adventure Australia magazine started on January 22nd, 2012, that overcleanliness can cause, as previously proven, Crohn's disease, and, determined by recent studies, type 1 diabetes. Much like the number of kangaroos needed to scare me, there are two causes to being overly clean. We force ourselves into unnecessary cleaning habits, and our society pressures itself to stay clean. First, it has become universally assumed that cleaner is better. Our body produces sweat, which contains natural pheromones to attract one another. But for some reason, people want to get rid of that. Body washes contain a compound called sodium lauryl sulfate, or SLS, that removes all natural oils on the skin. Oils which sole purpose is to attract the other people. But not only does SLS scare away the girls, in a study published in 2004 by the Journal of Investigative Dermatology, SLS causes hair and skin damage due to its protein denaturing properties. So not only does hand sanitizer impact the reproductive system, but body wash does too. Our current cleanliness belief has led us down a squeaky clean slope that ignores all possible benefits of being natural. Second, being filth is stigmatized in our society. We tend to shun people who don't bathe on a daily basis. Think about the kids who are bullied in school. Students are often treated differently if they have poor hygiene. Many of us are guilty of thinking people are inferior because of their sanitation standards, and we actually alienate ourselves from people we deem unclean to create a cleaner image for ourselves. For example, beyond the school grounds, we tend to look condescendingly on homeless people who are in poor living conditions and associate them with grime and scum. Samira Kawash, professor at Duke University, notes that the public view of homelessness is immediately connoted with dirt and filth. People see homeless people and begin to overclean in order to stay a higher social class. We will do anything to not be associated with dirt, even if we have to go to unhealthy extremes. So, by acknowledging the harmful effects of overcleaning, maybe we can look forward to a brighter future without using Listerine whitening strips. Australia has already felt the impacts of living dirtier lives. Their asthma rate is 6 times lower than the United States. Further, the average U.S. citizen spends roughly $260 on cleaning products annually, which is meager compared to the modest $31 spent by Australians. So, how can we learn a lesson from the Aussies? First, we need to change our cleaning habits. As a society, we are too clean. By making your house into a biohazard room, who are we really helping? It's not entirely necessary for us to stop showering altogether, but maybe only use shampoo every other time you clean yourself. And on top of that, we don't even need to use harmful shampoo. Companies like Avalon make completely organic solutions that replenish all our natural oils rather than remove them. Sunscreen is another product we apply so thoughtlessly. Although it does help filter away UV ray lights, it contains harmful chemicals such as retinol palmitate and oxybenzone that speed up tumor growth on skin cells. Again, we can use organic sunscreens that contain healthy alternative chemicals but have the same effect. Already, some nations like Australia require warnings on products that may have possible harm on our health. In a sense, inaction or not cleaning is actually taking action to solve this problem. We need to learn how to stay healthy the natural way, through dust and through dirt. Second, being clean may seem like the sensible thing to do, but research and common sense shows otherwise. We need to universally and socially accept that being unwashed is okay. It's no fluke that the Asthma and Allergy Foundation asserts that over 700 Americans die per year by allergies caused by overcleanliness. We need to be clean but not irrational. The non-biodegradable chemicals in cleaning products like 409 take over a decade to dissolve. If it takes 10 years for nature to get rid of dangerous chemicals, think how long it takes you. Fixing this problem can start with questioning your own cleaning habits and asking why you do what you do. Make sure you know what is in your cleaning products and educate yourself on alternative cleaning methods that are healthier for you and your surroundings. Finally, ask questions of your family, friends, and the companies distributing these products. Through dialogue, we can all become more informed on this issue. Now, knowing when clean is too clean is mandatory before we clean ourselves to death. Being dirty is all a part of being human, and by overcleaning, we're actually taking that away from ourselves. While being healthy is certainly important, there are steps each of us can take to living a quality life, and it doesn't always involve hand sanitizer. In the age we live in today, we shouldn't need to travel tens of thousands of miles to Australia to realize that there are alternative definitions of clean and healthier ways of keeping ourselves healthy. So maybe with a little less soap and a lot more conversation, we can drain the world of this problem.